As he always does each week, Alamogordo Tigers head football coach A.J. Cisco joins us. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, man. It feels good when you come in here and after a win.
Talk about the rise and fall of emotions of that game, because I feel like
you gotta love teenagers, right?
Well, for them and for you, I mean, the excitement, the anger, the frustration. I mean, it was a little bit of everything for y'all.
It was, and I keep saying the word resiliency with our kids, and you've seen this with our kids over the years, the no quit attitude. We won't back down from anything. We may be outmanned, but we're going to play till the last whistle, and our kids just understand, put their nose to the grindstone and keep going, and good things are going to happen.
I think it says a lot about the team, and they get the big 80-yard touchdown there early in the fourth quarter, and boy, you could have just slumped your shoulders, and the kids could have said, we're not going to win this one, and bounce right back with a quick score, and you guys, continue to fight back through that rest of that quarter.
Yeah, and this group shows it, and you see it with other teams in the past couple of years, the toughness to keep playing. This all started when 2017, when that group went 0-10. I mean, that group set that foundation of what this football program will be in the long run, and we talked to them about this may not be the senior year you want or the football season you want back in 2017, but in 10 years, you're going to be the direct reason why we're at where we're at. And you see that, and I couldn't be proud of our kids. The first thing I told them was I love them and how proud I am of them. But like I said, this goes back to 2017 of going through that first season to get to where we're at. And then just the toughness of our kids to just keep playing. And if you ask any of our kids what's the most important play, they're going to tell you the next play. Whatever's happened, you can't change. Focus on getting better on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, you think about over the last 10 years and what all the, obviously the program struggled there in those first couple of years, and then you had COVID, and, having to kind of go through all of those things to get back to a particular point. That, you're right. These kids now are, hopefully paying the dividends of that a little bit.
They are, and they get reminded of it, of the groups before them that have laid those foundations and those bricks to get to where we're at. And it's like I said, we're 1-3. We haven't accomplished anything yet, and we haven't done anything that we set our goals out for the season to be. But the toughness and the resilience of where our program's at, because we can be competitive in everything we do, starts back to when that first year when we weren't competitive.
Yeah. Well, and we knew going into the season, Nathaniel Best was a special athlete, and boy, he did some really big things for you guys on Friday night.
He did. He made 2 great plays, and it's always good when you have a kid like that on your team that can make those plays and kind of take over a game like you did with those 2 big runs. But I mean, you got to go to defense. Defense had to play really well after that and keep getting stops to let us get a chance to get back in that game. And I think one of the biggest stops we got was right before halftime when we got that stop, and we didn't get to go down and score in a minute and a half, but we didn't let them score and get up on a double dip us and go up 28-14.
Yeah, for sure. It made a big difference. And, different guys stepping up, Marcus making the big catch in the end zone. And you mentioned defensively, I mean, guys like, Kamari Morale and Isaac Lara, somebody I haven't mentioned, I think, on the radio, but Nathan Sarasaris has had a great season for you guys this season.
That little sophomore is going to be okay in the long run.
Yeah.
But like defensively, I mean, and it's one of those things that we're going to bend but not break is kind of our mentality. We want to keep everything in front of us. We want to be sound defensively, play gap sound football, and tackle well. And I thought we'd done that. And when you eliminated the explosive plays, we have a shot, because I mean, we only had 2 explosive plays, and we talk about that. We have to win the explosive play battle to win football games. But when we limit their explosive plays and make them drive a field, and then we can get teams behind the sticks, which we did a couple of times, and that's something they're not good at. I mean, that's what their offense isn't based to be able to get 3rd and 13s. So I was so proud of our defense all the way around the board. You go to the back end of them making plays. We never got beat over the top. Getting pressure when we needed to at the end. I mean, I was so proud of our defense for just keep plugging along, because it's easy when you get punched in the face, and we tell our kids all the time, we're going to turn things into a fist fight. We're going to keep punching, and somebody's got to break. And our defense never broke, and couldn't be proud of that group. Couldn't be proud of our staff for maintaining that and getting those kids to just keep plugging along.
All right. You guys get Oregon Mountain this week, a program that has improved from last year. You guys won a pretty comfortable game, 27-0 last season, but, I'm sure you guys are expecting to be in for a fight coming up on Friday.
Yeah, night. It's a completely different team, and Coach Sanchez in year 2 and going into year 2 and having to completely kind of change the program and put your stamp on that program, you can see the changes. I mean, that's a much better football team, and they won their first game this past weekend, but they lost by a touchdown to Demi, and they lost by a touchdown to Mayfield. I mean, they've been in their football games and had shots to win. Lost by a touchdown to El Dorado. I mean, I think they're 18 points away from being 4-0. It's a good football team. They're big. They're physical. They know who they are. They don't they don't make any bones about it. It's much like PV. They're going to put 6 linemen in the game, and let's go bang. And they've got an athlete at quarterback that can run, and they're running some option principles. And it's going to be a tough matchup for us. We got to line up and play well and not turn the ball over.
Kind of, and you say similar to PV in terms of the way you guys are going to have to be physical and pay attention on the option side of things defensively. Is it you're going to kind of the same thing, or is it going to be a little bit of a different setup?
It'll be. I mean, you'll have the same 6 linemen up there. They'll give you a couple different formations. You won't have the wing backs and the motions and all that stuff. And they'll be in gun a lot or pistol. But they're going to read everything, whether it's their zone schemes, their down schemes. They're going to read those, and they've got a quarterback that can move and be an athlete. And then they've got a receiver that's a big, tall, athletic kid that plays basketball named Lenny Washington that they're going to try to get the ball to and see if they can out-athlete people.
Yeah. I do want to mention one more thing as well. We'll switch over to offense. Somebody really stepping up and for the team is Josiah Quinlan, and him willing to move to wide receiver.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. And see that kid to make that change on Monday of last week and accept it and just embrace it. And when I did an interview with the newspaper, and he asked me about these kids, and I said, these kids care more about this team success than their individual success. And Josiah exemplified that. He cared more about this team winning football games and being successful than his own success. And that's what I love about our kids. And Josiah exemplifies that. He got voted team captain this week. So he'll be a captain the rest of the year, which is a huge honor for our 5 guys that got voted this week. And he was one of them. And I think it was pretty obvious to everybody in that football program how much he cares about this football team.
And I think on top of that as well, he adds kind of a dynamic player out there on the outside for you.
He's too good an athlete not to be on the field. Yes. Like, we got to have him on the field. He helps us. We're banged up at the receiver position. We've got 2 starters that haven't played since week 1, and we've got to get some depth, and he adds that depth and another athlete on the field. And I can be proud of him, can be proud of our big boys up front. I thought Dylan ran the ball hard. We rushed for 250-something yards and threw for almost 150, so I thought we were well balanced in that regard. Offensively, I thought we played extremely well. We had that third quarter series. I think it was 3 in a row where we kind of struggled and we're just kind of stuck in the mud. But they just keep fighting along and keep plugging, and we don't keep doing what we do and get better at it.
Yeah, and heading into this week, it seems like the more reps he gets full time at quarterback, Nathaniel seems to get more comfortable with throwing the football, reading, going the bubble screens and things, just more comfortable throwing the football overall.
It will. I mean, everybody gets better with time and doing it. And this is a position that he's been a kid that's had to play every position known to man because he's an athlete. And now he gets to kind of focus on one thing fully, and he's going to continue to grow and get better. And he's going to give us a shot to win games in certain situations. But like I said, if we can't run the ball, we're not going to win at all. So we got to make sure those big boys up front take care of business.
And we're to the part of the season that, not that the first 4 games didn't matter, but you all know what's in front of you now. You know that certainly this week's game, when you play Clovis, when you play Carlsbad, if you guys are going to make the playoffs, you absolutely have to have those 3 games for sure. For sure, and that gives us a shot. And our kids know that. But we talked about it last week. I mean, you going in 0-3 and then very frustrated in 3 games that you thought you played well enough to win and had mistakes. But we changed the mindset to last week where it was just be 1-0. Be 1-0 come Friday at 10 o'clock. Our kids embrace that concept. Everything we talked about was being 1-0. And now it's flipped to now it's being 1-0, but it's twofold. Now it's being 1-0 on Friday and 1-0 in district. And being at the top of the district standings after week 1 is a big deal. And it's not the Oregon Mountain of last year. It's not the Oregon Mountain's sub-varsity teams that we've played in the past. This is a good football team. And if we don't play well, we're going to get beat. And we've got to line up and play and be ready to go and have that mentality. And I think our kids have done a good job this week. It's hard after you come off such an emotional victory to get kind of channeled back into what you got to do. And Monday was a struggle. I mean, Monday was a struggle practice-wise. You come off homecoming as well. I mean, it's a long weekend for the kids. It was not our best Monday, but I thought our kids responded to the challenge that we gave to them Monday afternoon to come back Tuesday. And I thought we've had 3 really good practices since then to get ready and get focused. And I'm excited to go out there and play again tomorrow night. All right, we'll look forward to it. Friday night as the Tigers take on the Oregon Mountain Knights.
One last thing, man. Okay. That community, I don't never pay attention to the crowd, and I don't ever look up there. That place was packed last week.
It was.
That was one of the biggest, and I've had people tell me that's one of the biggest crowds they've seen since the state championship game in 2006. So big shout out to this community for coming out. And it's not just sport and football, it's sport. The band kids, you had all the cheerleaders out there. That is why this place can be special. I had the coaches from Piedra Vista come and talk about how awesome it was and the atmosphere it was, and it's such a cool environment, not just for our kids, but for visiting teams come in. They don't get to play in those places all the time. When you go to the Field of Dreams, it's not that same atmosphere. When you go to Wilson or Milne or community in Albuquerque, you don't get that same type of atmosphere. So what we did, that's big shout out to the community of Alamogordo and A-Town to come out, and let's continue to do that. Let's do that every time we have a home game and pack that place and make this a fun environment for everybody involved.
All right, very good, Coach. Good luck this week. We
appreciate it, man. Go Tigers.